Hey, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Trey Griggs here with Beta Consulting Group. It is Finish Strong Friday, so whatever you're doing today, make sure you finish strong. Have a great day. That glass of wine is going to taste a lot better tonight if you finish strong in that steak. I bet my boy Hayden Allred's going to be making some steak this weekend. So Hayden, if you're making steak, finish strong today. That steak's going to taste a little bit better. Again, I'm Trey Griggs with Beta Consulting Group. I'm here with my good friend Jennifer Karpus-Romain from the Transportation Marketing and Sales Association, and we are at the TIAA Conference 2022 Conference and Exhibition here in San Diego. It's been a great conference so far.
It really has. This is my first time here. So
really?
It's really great to absorb everything.
First time to TIAA.
First time.
Wow. Well, you came to one of the best ones because now Ann Rinke's at the helm. She's the CEO. It's changed a lot of the dynamics of TIAA. There's a lot of young energy, a lot of fresh energy, a lot of great sessions. It's just been a lot of fun. I mean, this morning I ran in the 5K for the first time, so I'm breaking out and doing some new things as well. Survived, no injuries.
Great.
You know, at my age, it's not about like winning or where you place. It's literally just like, just don't injure yourself.
Yeah,
I don't want
to that.
I don't want to hobble through the rest of this conference, or go to the party tonight and not I don't have all my faculties with me. So no, it's great. It's good being here, and it's good just to be around so many people.
Yes.
The value of that, I think that, we missed trade shows for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Every industry pretty much missed trade shows for 2 years, and we did virtual, and virtual was good, but it's not the same as being, face to face, getting to shake hands, getting to go to dinner and all those kind of things. I mean, conferences in general are just absolutely amazing.
Yes, I agree. So we actually, TMSA had an in-person conference last year, but at the tail end, and it was still a lot smaller.
Right.
But it is really the energy that you get being in person and seeing other people and that camaraderie. It's just, you can't mimic that virtually. And there's a lot of things that you can do, and there's really innovative ways that you can still engage and interact with people. But that just that energy that you feel off somebody in person, it's just a totally different experience.
Completely different. And it's like a mutual shared experience too. So it's like a bonding moment. It's something you talk about later. Nobody's talking about, hey, do you remember that virtual call we had or that Zoom call we had? Like, you don't talk about that, but you're going to talk about things that happen at a conference.
Right.
Which is really, really cool. So before we go any further, and by the way, if you're watching, thanks so much. Click follow, like, subscribe, and comment. And that way you can see every time we go live with great guests like Jennifer. And we got a great lineup next week, so I'm very excited about that. In fact, on Monday at 10:30 a.m. Central, I'm going to have my good friend Shannon Breen, the CEO of Freightvana, who is a company like up and coming in our industry, doing great things. This guy's got a cool story. Can't wait for you guys to hear from him. So Monday, come back at 10:30 and listen to Shannon Breen. But before we go any further, tell everybody just a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Jennifer Karpus-Romain, and I'm the executive.
I actually pronounced it correctly.
You did.
I'm
Good
very
job.
excited about that because you always want to get that right.
It is. That's such a big thing. And I was actually laughing. So the Romain part comes from when I got married, and I was a journalist at the time. So your name is your brand,
right?
Which is it's been interesting to watch the market and everyone else. It's like that has become such a big thing that your name is your brand. So when I got married, I was like, well, I can't just fully get rid of my brand, but then I'm getting married, so I want to add that on. But anyways, so now I just have a very long mouthful of a name.
It's one more thing that women have to deal with.
Yes.
And don't, right?
It's just like even thinking like, what do you do with your Twitter handle? Like that's it's a whole thing. But
anyway, athletes too that have athletes or musicians that have their brand is their name, like Kelly Clarkson or somebody like they get married, they can't really change their name because people can be like, who's Kelly Johnson?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Right? Yeah. So sorry, go ahead.
So I'm the executive director at TMSA, and I started that really early this year. So prior to that, I was an affiliate member of TMSA. So I worked in the tech space, selling into transportation, because that's such a big part. How can we connect all of the technologies that we're using to better what we're doing? Yeah. And I just fell in love with TMSA from the moment I got into it, and joined the education committee, joined the marketing committee, joined the board last year. So as they were looking for new leadership, that wasn't necessarily what I thought was my path.
You didn't raise your hand?
No, I was like, oh yeah, we got to get someone really strong, really dedicated, really interested in taking the very best of TMSA and pushing it forward and doing even more with it. And then after our in-person conference, I just felt that call and was like, I love TMSA so much. I'm so passionate about helping people better their skill set, better their network, just to have more opportunities to engage and to have these in-person events and to do all of those things. And it's so hard to find other marketing people, other salespeople that can speak all of your languages, both the transportation and the logistics and the marketing and sales side, because so many people, it's just like one or two people on their teams. Like, where are these people going to bounce ideas off of somebody or to really brainstorm through an idea? And that's what we're all about. We're a trade nonprofit. So we are fully dedicated to really just being that engagement, that networking, that education for those people. And it is a really awesome group. So I have worked in many different, I always laugh, like I have reinvented my career multiple times
I think
over.
many of us have. It's
Yeah.
kind of normal these days. Right?
Yes. And so like started in journalism, then got into marketing, and every step it always pushed me further. And it's been really interesting as someone who's been more in the creative space of things to really find my niche in that manufacturing, in that transportation. That's what carried my career through all of it.
Yeah.
So that's what got me here, and I love being here, and it's great to be here too,
No, it's awesome.
to finish off this Friday.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's great. And like transportation in particular has been pretty lean when it comes, especially to marketing. A lot of companies, there's only one full-time marketer, if that.
Absolutely.
Might be the sales leader who's the marketing professional. A lot of sales organizations struggle in transportation just to kind of get things together. So I'm excited about the upcoming conference, which is June 6th,
5th through 7th.
5th through 7th. Okay, good. June 5th through 7th in Orlando.
Yes.
And we're going to have a lot of really great people there. Our friend Blythe Brumley is going to be there speaking, which is awesome. I'm excited to be there. Kyle McNaught's going to be there. We just talked to Charlie Safro last night, who's kind of made a commitment. I don't want to put you on the spot, Charlie, but excited about having some really great people available and be a part of the organization. And what's going to be like the key for like why should somebody come to that event?
So our theme this year is Level Up, because that's what we're all doing. I mean, we all know the eye is on the supply chain like never before. What are we doing with it? And also post-COVID, you really are seeing that people are not I don't even know what kind of COVID we're in now, but whatever.
What stage are we in?
We really know that we are in this space where we realized what our technology is doing, what it's not doing, what we want it to be doing. How can we be bettering our process? And I also think there's, especially in technology now, all these different softwares are combining together in a sense where they're either bundling their services so it's all in one, or they're really focusing in on software integration. And how do we kind of use that? And also with that, I think it's funny how we're talking about, especially in marketing, but sales too, but there's an eye on marketing that was never there before. There's like a transparency almost, or like understanding that ROI, because now those softwares are kind of bundled into the other things. So now as marketing leaders and marketing practitioners, how do we work with that to showcase what we do? How can we lean into that technology to be more efficient? How do we work with the right partners that really focus and specialize in what we need? And that's all a big piece of what we're doing. And we are the Transportation Marketing and Sales Association. So how do we work as marketing people with sales and vice versa? How do we have a commonality or goal? What's the sales alignment, the sales enablement? As I used to be in a marketing role, and that was always my favorite part, is building that sales enablement collateral that's actually going to help my sales team. And what does that look like? So it's all about leveling up, how to be a better version of yourself professionally and some personally. And we have like we're going to do yoga in the morning to test some things out with Dr. Mark Manera.
Oh,
so
somebody who really knows.
Yeah. So when I talked to him, he started his company because he was a physical therapist who saw these truck drivers coming in and really just wanted to dedicate himself to helping that and helping the supply chain in that way. So I'm really excited.
That's awesome. And I love the fact that you talk about sales and marketing, together, working together, because I'm a big believer that marketing and sales is really one team, one department with two distinct kind of initiatives of how they're generating revenue, but they really should be working together. And if you think about like a marketing team, where do you want to get your content? It'd be great to talk to your sales guys about what they're hearing in prospecting calls or from customers, from your customer success team, and get that information, because for whatever reason a prospect's going to buy from you is going to be the same reason that the next prospect is probably going to buy from you. So having them work together is really critical. So I love the fact that you're really putting those two things together and focusing on transportation, which historically has been an industry that has not valued those things, especially on the marketing side.
Right.
And branding is such a big thing, especially now with, internet, social media, all those things. Brand is it. Your brand is it. And what I love to tell people about this is your brand is what people think about when they see your logo or hear your name. And it's your responsibility to craft that, to shape that.
Absolutely.
Right. And so it's just really critical to really start thinking that way and to come to the conference June 5 through 7. I got
5 through 7.
What's the website where people can go real quick and just check that out?
So our website is tmsatoday.org. And then we have an events page that'll take you live there. And it's kind of a mouthful, so I'll post it in the recorded version of this.
That'll be awesome. Steven, thanks for watching. Good to have you on the show today. Always good to see some comments in there, which is a lot of fun. So, all right. So you're here at TIAA for the first time.
Yes.
What has like been the kind of maybe the biggest eye opener here and being here? What's really kind of stood out? What's been kind of impression upon you so far at this event?
So for TMSA, we are really focused on sales and marketing. So our content is fully driven towards that. So with TIAA, it's a little bit different. You have those things sprinkled in, but you also have all the other types of things that people care about in transportation. So I always feel like in this space, no matter how long you've been here, you always have something more to learn and a different sector to dive into.
Yeah.
So that's been really cool to really go to those different places, see those different topics, engage with people that are outside sales and marketing to see, well, what do they care about? Because sometimes those people are who we are selling to or who we're marketing to. So just really getting all different types of perspective so that you can be the best version of yourself going to market.
Yeah. And one of the things I've noticed is I've talked to a lot of people at the show. The idea of like managing remotely now is really a concept that a lot of leaders have to embrace because they haven't done it before. Most of them, a lot of leaders never had to do that. And now with COVID, they had to learn, but maybe they didn't learn best practices or they were learning some best practices, trying to figure it out. It's really cool to have people coming together and starting to talk about some things that are really impactful to lead an organization. So not just the skill sets, but also like, how do you manage people that are not in your office? How do you create KPIs and how do you measure their success? How do you, just keep a pulse on how they're doing, with your employees? There's just so many things that coming out of the pandemic, things have shifted. There's a lot to learn. And these conferences are really, really valuable. It's a lot of fun.
Yes. I've worked remotely for 5 years and the company.
7 for me.
Yeah. So
I don't know if I'd even go back to an office.
I don't think I could. In the middle of the pandemic, I actually just got rid of all of my business casual clothing and I have like 3 dresses that I can wear to conferences because that's all I need. Everything else I'm at home, and it really does help me focus. I think that was always a really hard part for me working in an office. And so I was like a content writer or a journalist, and I need to. How I write is not in silence, it's in chaos. And that's just how my brain works best. So I think it's a lot, the remote versus in person, but also just really understanding who our employees are and what their needs are for the best execution.
Absolutely.
Some people need to be in the office. Some people don't. Some people like to talk more. But I once worked at a job and I didn't say hello to one of my coworkers every day. And at one time he came over and he's like, "Are you mad at me?" I'm like, "No, you just look busy." And so it's hard to get those different personality types and kind of dive into that. But I think we're at a place now where we're starting to turn the corner and realize that not everybody is the same. And I like it because it's not, I feel like before COVID, it was always like generational differences. Like millennials do this, baby boomers do this. But now it's kind of like, no, everyone's kind of their own self. And maybe we should not generalize that, but dive into the people specifically that we're working with.
And it doesn't matter necessarily when you're born. I mean, certainly there's characteristics like, the Gen Z, they're native digital, right?
Sure.
Where a lot of us are not. But at the same time, if you're an introvert or extrovert, it doesn't matter when you're born. You get energy from people or you don't get energy from people. And, just having an idea of what that is and how to manage that better. Those are all critical things that we all have to learn now to really make sure that people are thriving and they're that they feel appreciated and cared for and things like that, which is really good. Now, have you been to San Diego before? That's where the conference is here. Have you been to San Diego before?
So I've been to La Jolla, but never to San Diego.
Yeah.
So it's been nice. And I come from Ohio where it's been snowing.
Yeah.
So quite the change.
So for those that don't know, because I'm a golfer, La Jolla is where Torrey Pines is. Did you come for golf?
No.
Oh, that's too bad. Because that's
I came to see the seals and stuff.
it is pretty over there. I mean, it's up high and the ocean's beautiful, but I had to ask because, it is Masters week, everybody. I'm addicted to golf. Tiger's 1 under. He's tied for 10th. I'm so excited. Can't wait. But you said La Jolla, and I'm thinking, man, because that's where he won his major in 2008. So anyways, enough about golf. So first time in San Diego.
Yes.
What have you enjoyed about being here?
So it's pretty.
It's beautiful.
There's something I'd never really considered
Weather's
myself.
Okay.
Yeah,
weather's okay.
It's a little hot for me, but I don't consider myself necessarily an outdoorsy person.
Yeah.
But there is something about taking a pause in a pretty scene and taking that silent moment to just listen to the water.
Yeah.
There's a stillness that I'm
views are breathtaking.
Yeah.
They're absolutely breathtaking. Hey, Elena, what's up? She said, yay for Ohio. So you got an Ohioan. OH. There you go. I learned that a long time ago. So I'm glad you didn't leave me hanging on that.
Yeah, that would have been bad.
That could have been kind of embarrassing. But anyways, no, it is beautiful here. And it is nice. I think that one thing that I think we got out of the pandemic is almost a regained sense of perspective of what's important, of going on a walk, of having meals with your family. I know for me, I've worked from home for 7 years, so my life didn't change a lot. But I know for some of my friends, like they were like, wow, like having a morning together and actually having breakfast and not having to rush out the door at 7 to hit that traffic and get there before 8, things like that, or getting to be at kids' activities more often or whatever. I think perspective is kind of a renewed sense of what came out of this. And I think that's really valuable, that especially as when you think about employers, like they think about like what's important to people. What do they really care about? Somebody who's maybe 23, 24, ambitious, they might not care about that. They might want to just grind for 12 hours a day. But somebody who has a family, has kids, you want to be a good dad. You want to be a good mom. And I think that was a renewed sense of perspective.
I agree. And I think it kind of really, you do or should think more about what is motivating to your team. And that was something I had talked about even pre-pandemic. So if you have like an awards program at work, some people, if you raffle off like a trip to Hawaii or something, sure. I think a lot of people will do that, but some people are motivated by like a Starbucks gift card. I will pretty much do anything work related to get free Starbucks, but other people,
I'm sensing an addiction.
Yes. Yes. Especially at these shows all day.
Yeah.
But you really,
and by the way, they close the Starbucks at 11.
At 11. I don't understand.
I'm not a coffee drinker, but I'm feeling empathy for coffee drinkers. Like who stops drinking coffee at 11?
No one.
I know,
especially
not
at a conference
where you're up late, maybe had a little too much to drink. You got to go all day. I mean, 11 o'clock, you got to double fist it at like 10:30.
That's also thinking for like our conference. Like that's when I came into this position, I told my entire board, we will have coffee all day.
You have a Starbucks tap. It's just going to be all day. Just, full tap, never run out.
Yeah. It's really important.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's true. No, so it's cool to kind of think about that, like you said, like understanding what your employees really want, like what matters to them, what motivates them, what drives them. All those things are a part of leadership that are really critical to know because everybody's different and it changes over time. I mean, if you have an employee who is a bachelor, right, and he's just grinding, and then he meets a lady and gets married, his values and priorities might change a little bit, or
maybe should.
Right. Yeah, or should, maybe, right? Or they have a kid or something like that, right? It's like helping people kind of navigate that and being open and just understanding, having a pulse on people is really critical in leadership.
It really is. And it does evolve and change. And it might be something temporary or something that they want to commit to fuller time. But I really think I always felt one of the biggest things for me is really understanding my place at a company. So like I have switched jobs frequently, I guess, in comparison to other people. But I felt most successful when I understood what my role was, how I contributed to the overall sense of the company and how they were investing in me too, and how they cared about it. Is really hard for employees when they get energized and tell you ideas and you're like, okay, I'll think about that. And then nothing happens. So and you want that kind of buy-in and support from everybody. That was always one time I had worked on this, technology, and it was something so silly. It was like where you think the next button was the cancel button. So you would click it and you'd be like, oh, now I have to start all over. And it's like getting input from the actual practitioner who's working on that type of software or that type of engagement. That's really helpful because, and the more buy-in you can get by everybody and earlier on in those types of processes, the better it's going to be because they care more and you'll just have more success.
They feel more valued. Like my input actually matters. You're going to do something about that. Absolutely. I had the chance to host the Young Executives Luncheon yesterday, and Jeff Tucker of Tucker Company Worldwide was on it, and he's been in the industry for a long time. And he was talking about the fact that they have a steering committee at Tucker Company Worldwide that has no leadership or managers on it. It is only the employees, and they come up with ideas. And he said they've implemented every idea that the team has come up with. What does that do for your culture? People feel like, well, if I see something that would help, I can contribute, and somebody's going to listen. Somebody's going to, move on that, take action on that. And that's really valuable to create that culture of being heard and whatnot. And I just think that the more that you can get your team involved in what you're trying to do and make them feel valued, they're going to come up with stuff you wouldn't even think of. It's going to be way better. Right. And your company's just going to grow as a result of that. So I love that concept, like, really just getting buy-in and feeling comfortable to share ideas and that somebody's going to act on it. I said, you implemented all of them? He goes, everyone. We've implemented every one of them because they were great ideas, and they just keep getting more great ideas. So I think that's really cool.
I think that's awesome too.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's really
Tucker is a TMSA member.
Excellent. Well, hopefully we'll see him at Level Up. I'm really excited about that. And when you think about leadership, I can always go back to a Zig Ziglar quote. I love Zig Ziglar.
Me too.
Shout out to Ziggy. He said, "You can have everything you want in life if you help enough people get what they want in life." And that's true for customers. If you help your customers get what they want, if you help your employees get what they want. So when I think of leadership and I think of my company, my team, like I want to help them build their dream. I don't want them to build my dream. Like who wants to do that? I want them to build their dream. That means I need to know their dream. Right.
Sure.
I need to help them find ways to figure that out. And that might be within my company, which is cool, or that might be doing something else someday. Right. But I need to be open to that because I want everybody to feel a sense of like, I can build my dream, and I want them to know that I care about that, and I think that that's really helped me out just to understand what they want, kind of ask questions, have a pulse on that. It's been really, really helpful in that. So it's really cool.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I think too, because I think when we talk about remote work culture, it's all, I mean, especially at the beginning, it was always, well, how do I know what my employees are doing? And which is just because they're working. I actually feel, I always, when I started working in a remote, like 5 years ago, I was like, well, this is just awesome because there is no, oh, that person showed up to the work, so they must be working. You can see people's output when they're working from home because you're just focusing on the actual work they're doing, not where they are. But there's also the other side of the burnout. So I like that what you were saying, like, oh, I need to know what their dreams are and what they want to do, because that's really important, because your rock stars shouldn't be penalized because they're awesome. You should still help them figure out where they can go and where they can grow and what they can do, and they will work harder for you.
They will.
And they won't feel like, oh, well, I am good at my job, so I'm being burdened to do all this extra stuff. So I think there's a give and take with that.
It's critical. And I love that. And so, I mean, leadership's really, really just something I'm focused on, because, now leading is like, you got to figure this stuff out. Right. And the other thing that I think is really important with leadership too is, I've been willing to be transparent in my life. Like I'm literally hiring people and I'm saying, hey, listen, I don't really know everything I'm doing here.
Sure.
Like I got to figure this out, and we're going to be along for the ride. Are you okay with that? Like, and what's funny is everyone's like, yeah, okay,
for sure.
I'll help you figure it out. Like, it's not like, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. Like, I don't want to be with him. It's like, there's something about being authentic and honest and transparent and getting rid of that imposter syndrome. Like, I don't know it all. There's a lot of things I don't know. I got to learn. But if you're open about that, I think people are actually willing to help you learn, and you grow together. And there's this idea in business of like subordination, that employees are subordinate, like they need to be like, but I think it needs to shift to real true partnership. Like we're locking arms. We're going to build this thing together. And if that means that they're doing it for 6 months, that's cool. If they do it for 4 years, that's cool. Whatever they choose to do in their life is cool. But like, it's having a different mindset about it. It's not subordination, it's partnership. And I tell leaders this all the time. If you take a typical org chart, which is a triangle, right? Take it like that. Like, it really needs to be flipped upside down. Right. Where the leaders at the bottom supporting everybody else, and the servant mentality, like those things are just critical to creating culture and getting people's buy-in. Like, I love working here. I love being in this team.
Yeah, I think it's really important as a leader to think about, if you're all riding in a car, you're not always the one in the driver's seat. You should absolutely hire people that you give the keys to, because everyone gets smarter that way. I like that you tell people, I don't always know what I'm doing, but with that, you're like, but I want to bring in the person who knows how to do A, who knows how to do B, and together we're going to get to the end together.
Yeah, it goes back to like one of my favorite books is Good to Great by Jim Collins. Have you read that book? I mean, it's kind of like a standard, like if you're in leadership at all, you got to read that book. But one thing he talks about that I've always thought about is the bus analogy. I don't know if you remember this or not, but it says you got to get the right people on the bus, get the wrong people off the bus. But then you got to get them in the right seats on the bus.
Absolutely.
And, sometimes, as a founder or CEO of a company, maybe CEO is not the right role. Like maybe that's not, like, maybe I'm not a driver. Maybe I'm, a navigator. Maybe that's the right seat for me, and I need to hire a driver or whatever it might be. But if you've got like 5 drivers on your bus, that's a waste, because you only need one.
Right.
If you got a driver on your bus and he's sitting in the back, that's a waste. So it's all about getting people in the right seat on the bus, and that you got to, understand who they are and what their skill sets are, what's different from you. Get them all together, and if you do that, that's when a company really goes from good to great.
And then make sure you hire a proper mechanic who can then, work through when the bus goes a little wonky.
That's right. Exactly. So let's finish with this. I mean, it's amazing. It goes like so fast.
I know.
We're almost done. So let's finish with this today. I'm very excited about the Level Up Conference. I'm excited about getting a chance to MC the Level Up Conference. That's going to be really, really cool. And we got some amazing speakers that are going to be there. We got some great sessions, and technology has really advanced through COVID from a sales and marketing perspective. You got a lot of great tools out there that are really combining the two, like, a CRM like HubSpot, for example, where it's all sales and marketing together, and getting with with other marketing and sales professionals that you can just bounce ideas off of, hear some best practices, talk what's going on. I'm super excited. So make sure you go to the website. In fact, I think we have the link right there. So go to the website, which is events.tmsatoday.org, and sign up for the event. Again, June 5 through 7 in beautiful Orlando. Hopefully it's not going to be too hot at that point. So
no, early June. So I think we'll be okay. And it's at the Gaylord Palm. So it's what I like about it is because even if you think Florida is too hot, you still feel like you're outside when you're inside when you're at the Gaylord
Those
Palms.
facilities are really cool. Exactly. No, I love that. So it's going to be a great show. It's going to be a lot of fun to do that. What is the main initiatives moving forward here in 2022 for TMSA? What are you guys going after real quick? And then we're going to call it a day.
So with TMSA, one of the biggest things that I wanted to do when taking on was really taking the best of what TMSA is, that networking, that engagement, and pushing it forward. How can we be there for our members? How can we help them develop their skills? How can we help them network more? So part of that is having our annual conference is our marquee event, but then how do we add more events? How do we boost our webinar offerings? How do we have more virtual roundtables? How do we have better content on our website that gears towards what they're looking for right now, what's trending? I really want to be this space. There's going to be events all the time, especially now that things are ramping back up, but where is that space where people can come together all of the time? And that's really what I want TMSA to be and what I think it can be.
I'm seeing some great content coming out, kind of coming with a little more of a content machine and producing, get a little more visibility on that. So it's very, very exciting to do that. So it's awesome. So everybody listen, hey, so again, next week, Monday, 10:30, I got Shannon Bream. He's actually at the conference here. So I got to see him. I got my new Freight Vana hat right over here on the table. I haven't put it on yet, but I need to do that. But that's going to be 10:30 a.m. on Monday next week, Central Time. I'll be right back here for, I think it's episode 30. It's crazy. This has gone so fast, just kind of flying by, but great content. He's going to be wonderful to talk to. I hope you guys have a fabulous weekend out there. Hit it hard, finish strong today, and we'll see you next week for more episodes of Standing Out, a daily podcast about sales, marketing, leadership, powered by Beta Consulting Group. If you would, go to betaconsultinggroup.com. I'm going to put it up on the link right here and check out what we can do for you, as well as check out the events page, because we've got our Tough Mudder coming up. This thing's going to happen in, let's see, what is today? Today's the 8th. We're at 21 days. So 3 weeks pretty much from tomorrow, we're having our Tough Mudder Challenge. 9 miles, 30 obstacles, raising money for Battle Buddy 3-Gun, which is a great organization. So check out what we can do from a sales marketing standpoint, but also that event, because we need you to help us raise $100,000 to impact wounded, paralyzed veterans. It's a great organization. And we'll see you guys next week on Standing Out, powered by Beta Consulting Group. See you guys.